What's going on YouTube? Earthpower here, bringing you another match of Kaijudo. So, when we were at Texas, Gorby and Spencer sat down to have a nice little friendly game of Kaijudo, preparing for Saturday and all that, just kind of like building some stuff. This first time we seen Spencer, and they decided to sit down and have a match, and I recorded it. So Spencer is running a 4-Civ Haven Control build, and Gorby is running the aggro deck, the tempo-y Bant, I guess as we called it, the nature light water deck that Gorby ran for LCQs the following day, the next Saturday, and actually won the LCQ with, or made top 2 to get his invite. And then the deck that I wound up using, I fixed it up like 1 or 2 cards, and wound up using that the following day on Sunday at the championship to secure second place at the championship. So Gorby here actually running 3 scamps though. This was before I decided to go down to 2. For reasons that you guys can listen to on Kaijudo's YouTube page. Definitely go check out Wizards Kaijudo. Their link will be down below. To watch an interview that I had with Thunder Sultan and the deck tech that I did with him as well, where we went over the deck and some of the choices that I made to the deck. So, Gorby here getting a ton of early progressions. He has the scamp when Spencer decides to mesmerize out the turn 3 Swordhorned, and then Gorby winds up coming into the Keeper of Laws, which he can benefit off of after like the double scamp. And then using a Piercing Judgment and other things to help break all of his shields, he winds up lying down Spencer's early blocker, which was in Scamp's way for the longest time, before Gorby winds up just clearing out all of his shields. And before I could explain all of that, Gorby's already taken the match. So Gorby with that early 1-up, Spencer sort of has the disadvantage here. I mean, his deck is a lot slower. It takes a while to get up off the ground, but if Spencer can hit his early blockers and get down to defense, and maybe with a couple of shield blasts, if he can make it to turn 6 safely, I'd say turn 5 or 6 safely, then Spencer might look like he's in a good way, and then can carry it to late game where he can start dropping Andromeda and Eternal Haven and cards like that, which Gorby's deck literally has no answers for. So, other than the possible spot removal with like Finbar and bounce cards for Andromeda, but even then it's coming back down, and that shield regeneration is just so strong against a deck like this. So, a deck like Gorby's. Gorby there with that early Homunculon to unlock the colors. The one downside of the deck that he ran for LCQs and that I ran for championships is that it does run between 12 and 13 multi-civs. I think his was running 12 at LCQ day, and I wound up running 13. And when you see them a ton, I mean, it's 1 out of every 3 cards almost as a multi-civ, and it can really hurt your early progression. So you want to get them down as early as possible on turn 1, turn 2, so that your later turn progressions, your turns 3 through 6, aren't disrupted too much. Spencer there once again with the Mesmerize, discarding Gorby's Tricky Turnip proxy. That is a fear thing. He was proxying it out that day, or that night as we were testing. But that is supposed to be a Tricky Turnip, so apologize for that. Gorby does have the turn 3 Swordhorn though. Spencer, it might not have been in his hand when he mesmerized, I didn't get a chance to see. But might just have been the better play for Tricky Turnip, seeing as how Spencer doesn't really have any answers for a Tricky Turnip on board at the moment. He does have the following Spire Puppet, though, continuously picking away at Gorby's hand, and leaves him without a turn 4 play. So, Gorby there going in with the Swordhorn and the Mana Pod Beetle. Once again, not too worried about what might happen to Mana Pod Beetle on the crackback with the Spire Puppet. However, Gorby does break a Shield Blast Tendril Grasp out of the last shield that he broke there, sending both the Swordhorn and the Mana Pod Beetle to mana, putting him at 6, but with no field presence at all. Spencer is able to freely set up a Wild Strider Ramnoth, and I think the next couple of turns are going to start to go poorly for Gorby. Spencer sets up a couple blockers, and Senator Jade Tree, or Senator something, oh my goodness, Jade Monitor, there we go, and the Full Metal Lemon. And then Spire Puppets are able to just hold down things and destroy Mana Pod Beetles when they decide to go in. Spencer follows that next turn up after Gorby gets a Lyra to stop the J, or to tap down the J monitor, is able to follow that up with a blinder beat of Prime. But like I said, Spencer has that Andromeda, and it would just be poor decision making for Gorby to go in at the moment. Instead, he decides to ram with the Wild Strider Ramnoth just to keep game off of Spencer's board. That way he can't attack with the Andromeda, attack with the Ramnoth, and double attack with the Spire Puppets to swing for game. Gorby does have the Rusalka though, sends back the Andromeda, and then is able to replay that Andromeda the following, or no, send back the blocker is what it looks like, and then forcing Spencer to replay it the next turn as Gorby tries to muster up some sort of field advantage, hopefully to come into like a Piercing Judgment or something where it can wipe all of Spencer's shields and then potentially take game the next turn, since Spencer is sitting on a lot of blockers which aren't powerful in Lyra right now. But Spencer does come into the second Andromeda, and at this point feels safe enough to go in. Gorby needs a lot of things to go right on his end, that one being the Oathsworn call right there, but it doesn't happen to be a Finbar. It's going to be another Lyra to stop the onslaught of attackers, and Gorby's still going to need what looks like a Shield Blast among a pretty awesome hand to deal with Spencer's board. He's going to have to potentially bounce one of the Andromedas, and then he's going to have to bounce them both on the following turn to potentially take game. And it's just not looking, it's looking like it's just going to be too much for Gorby to surmount here. And Spencer now, he does have a Lyra down Spire Puppet, but it doesn't matter. He's just going to drop the Andromeda once again, break his last two, and barring a Shield Blast, attack with the Puppet. Gorby does, however, once again get the Shield Blast he needed, so I mean, in a perfect world, things could have gone, I guess, better. But, oh wow, he double broke 2 Shield Blasts. Okay, so he got Oathsworn as well, but not able to completely benefit off of that, as it was only a Rusalka, not a Finbar. Gorby's able to set up a blocker to potentially deal with the Spire Puppets. He needs to get at least one attack through, and that's just not going to happen because of Spencer's 2 blockers. So that's the game 2. Spencer taking it with a ton of Andromedas. I mean, it was only 2 Andromedas, but the constant juggling was just too much for Gorby to handle. And now I take over. So Gorby had to leave for an extended period of time during this game, so I wind up coming in and playing proxy for him. So, shuffling up, getting ready for it. Yeah. So, again, I apologize for the lack of content over the past couple of days. I know I'm not going to be able to get too much. Gorby and I recorded a booster brawl that I'm going to try to narrate with him a little bit later this week. We are going to try to do another this week in Kaijudo this week to just kind of sum up and talk about where we're going to go with the channel in the next couple of weeks, since we're sort of in the off season now. Not a lot's going to be going on in the month of December through February, so we'll try to talk about that, update you guys on what we're up to, and then talk about some stuff that might be going on here in the future over the next couple of months as well. Some of the things that we may be trying to get together, and some cool stuff that we potentially might be hosting. As soon as we get more information, we're going to unload all of that on you, and should hopefully have at least a little bit of that in the tweak coming up, so stay on the lookout for that. I'm able to get a decent progression going. I don't really have anything to benefit off of the turn 4. I had to put a multi-civ down, so I don't know if I was holding laws yet or not. But I was able to drop the Swordhorn on turn 3, and then summon the Scamp on turn 2, and Spencer goes ahead and, I think, Bone Blades the Spire Puppet? Or Bone Blades the Swordhorn, excuse me. So I'm able to go get the second Scamp, but all things considered, I just need to get to turn 6. I think I'm holding Finbar and Lyra at this point, so as soon as I can get to them, I can start going in with the Scamps, drawing some extra cards, and doing some cool stuff. So he does have Spire Puppet, however, though, and is able to hit one of my Finbars. So I go ahead and put, I think, the Lyra down. Oh no, it was Manapod I was holding above Finbar, so that's pretty cool. So I Finbar back one of the blockers, and he just resummons more Jade Monitors. He's running so many. I do have the Homunculon though, so I decide to tap down the Rainclaw Kraken, attack it with Scamp, powering over it, and drawing a card thanks to Finbar. So Scamp getting a little bit of utility there. I still have to find a way to deal with those 2 Jade monitors though, and going for game. I mean, Spencer is literally turns away from an Andromeda at this point. I think he's going to 7 mana. He's at 7 or 6 now. And if I let him get to 7, or if I let him get to 9, it's just going to be all over. With hardly any hand, there's just not a lot I'm going to be able to do. I am able to drop down the Swordhorn though, which is going to be able to put pressure on his board, Swordhorn being bigger than both of his Jade monitors. So, if that thing can make it through the turn, hopefully I'll be able to mount a little bit of a comeback. But he does have the Terror Pit for it. Luckily, I'm able to get Scamp's effect off, and the third one isn't in shields, so I'm able to drop the third Scamp. And I think Spencer's out of a hand at this point, so now I just have to top deck a little bit better than he can. Wind up dropping the Tricky Turnip, aka Fearfang. So ignore that. And all of my stuff is just so much smaller than these J monitors. They're just forcing me into this weird position. I might be able to take all of his shields if I can top any sort of removal. If I can come into a blind to beat a prime, that'd be even better. But I'm just top decking very, very poorly at this point. And I mean, luckily so is he, but I just need to come into some form of removal, and it just comes a little late in the fact that he Terror Pits one of my Finbars, and then I top deck another one. So that would have been great if I could have topped that other one that turn prior even. Spencer with the Spire Puppets again. I'm able to just constantly draw weenie stuff. I think Spencer tops a card and holds it there, so I'm pretty sure Andromeda's going to come down. And I think I'm forced to at least break a couple of shields this turn. If Andromeda comes down next turn, I'm just going to lose. I know he's going to be able to get me on the crackback on a lot of this stuff. So it's just, I'm just in a really bad way right now. I'm not topping the removal I need. It's been turn after turn, and things have just been going poorly. So Spencer does get to 9 there, passes, and now I'm almost 100% sure that it's Eternal Haven. So I need to find some way to put myself in a decent enough board position to where that's not going to hurt like hell the next turn. And luckily I come into Lyra thanks to that attack with Seneschal the turn previous. But the first shield I break happens to be Tendril Grasp, and that just blows. So I go in with the Homunculon to draw a card, go ahead and break an extra shield with Finbar. I think I hit Crystal Memory, maybe? I don't know. But he winds up getting Haven and coming into the Lemon, and then thanks to Haven's power-up, is able to attack over both my tapped Homunculon and Finbar, and that's exactly what I didn't need happening. But what are you going to do? I was in such a bad way. I need Storm Spark at this point. Gorby is running 1, so that works out a little bit in my advantage, but I need to have the board to benefit off of that first. So I set up everything in my hand, including a Rusaka, a Homunculon, and a Tricky Turnip, hoping that he can't deal with at least 2 of those, and then I just need to draw into the 1 Storm Spark. And if that can happen, I could potentially take this game from Spencer. But he has the Andromeda follow-up with all the more blockers, and things just aren't looking good for me anymore. That Andromeda coming down is almost the nail in the coffin as we gear towards the end of this game. So I bounce it back with Piercing Judgment, decide to go in with everything that I can go in with, and he's just going to get me on the crackback again with his powered-up minions. He does get yet another Tendril Grass, so that kind of sucks. But, I mean, what are you going to do? I take all of his shields and then force him to play Andromeda again, even though he just doesn't. He plays another Haven, kills my 2 creatures, and then God, this is so bad. It's looking very poor for me now. Double Haven, he's going to drop Andromeda the next turn, and I assume swing for game at this point. I don't think he stalled it out too much longer. So there's the Andro getting all the shields back. Everything's just getting super sloppy as Spencer just gears up to push it in, as it were. I get a No-Sworn Call, which is cool, but only have laws to deal with that. And then a double Haven swing, among other things. I'm able to block, thankfully, with the Keeper of Laws. Thank you. Oathsworn Call, but it's just not going to be enough. And Spencer is going to take this game after some amazing Shield Blast Tendergrass and Double Haven and a bunch of Andromedas, among so many other things. So that is the game, and I think he's just going to style on me at this point. Yep, there's an Andrew. He's got like 18 million mana, and he just goes in. So that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Check out the social links below, the Facebook, the Twitter, all that fun stuff. And like I said, we're going to try to get some more videos. I'm going to try to get some more Booster Brawl in. CVH Gorby and I fixed up the cube, so we're going to try to get some cube games in as well. And then on top of that, we'll see what happens. Like I said, videos are going to be very short coming over the next week or two as we kind of just take a break. You know, like I said, we're in the slow season now. Things are moving very slowly, and we're going to enjoy it a little bit. So videos are going to slow down as well with that too, but we're still going to try to get some stuff, so stay on the lookout. I think that's all I got for you guys, so stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Peace.